All right, let's get right into it. Building production-ready AI, it's tough, right? And honestly, the foundation you choose for your system, it's absolutely critical. So today, we're going to map out the top 5 AI agent frameworks to help you make that choice. Let's dive in.
So you've got this big task, right? Build an AI agent. And I don't mean one that just looks good in a notebook. I mean one that actually performs reliably out there in the real world, booking meetings, digging through contracts, handling real customer support tickets. The big question is, where do you even start? I want you to think of yourself as an architect for a second. The framework you pick, it isn't just another tool in your toolbox. Nope, it's the foundation of the entire skyscraper you're about to build. Choosing the right one is everything. It dictates your speed, your reliability, your ability to scale down the road. You get this wrong, and you're basically building on sand. Okay, let's just make sure we're all on the same page here. When we talk about an AI agent in 2025, we're not talking about a simple chatbot anymore, not even close. We're talking about a sophisticated system that's orchestrating large language models, calling external tools, and navigating complex workflows to actively get something done. All right, so let's map out the terrain. We're going to walk through the 5 big players, the leading frameworks out there right now. Each one has its own unique philosophy and its own strengths. Think of this as your personal guided tour. First up, we've got LangGraph. Now, instead of thinking about a simple straight line of tasks, imagine a dynamic flowchart for your AI. LangGraph uses something called a state machine, which is just a fancy way of saying it creates these complex branching workflows. It's all about giving you control and traceability, so you can define exactly how the agent gets from step A to step B, or C, or D.
So where does LangGraph really shine? It's perfect for any situation with complex if this, then that logic. Think about a customer support agent. It needs to check a policy, maybe query a database, and then decide whether to escalate to a human. That's a perfect use case. Now, what's the trade-off? Well, you have to manage all that state yourself, which, yeah, adds a bit of overhead. But you make that trade-off when a bug is super expensive and you absolutely need to know why the agent made a certain decision. Okay, next up is CrewAI, which takes a totally different tack. This is cool. CrewAI models agents just like a real-world team. You literally define roles. You've got your researcher, your writer, your editor, and then you give them tasks. It is built for collaboration right from the get-go. This approach is just perfect for jobs where you need different specialists to work together, like creating a big market report. But here's the big warning label. More agents means way more complexity. You choose to take on that complexity when a single agent just isn't going to cut it for quality. And trust me, if you go down this path, you better have rock-solid controls on your costs and on preventing those agents from getting stuck in endless loops. It's non-negotiable. All right, now for the all-in-one option, OpenAI agents. Look, if your team is already living and breathing in the OpenAI ecosystem, this is your easy button. It's a fully managed environment that just handles all the heavy lifting for you. We're talking tool use, memory, function calling, all of it. It's fantastic for quickly building internal copilots or simple support bots. So what's the catch? Well, that simplicity comes with a price tag, portability. You're basically accepting vendor lock-in. And why would you do that? Because your number one goal is speed. It's a smart move for internal tools or early prototypes where just getting something out the door is what matters most. Okay, but what if your agent's main job is to think and reason based on your own company's data? That's where Llama Index comes in. This framework is built from the ground up with retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, at its very core. It's designed for agents that have to be grounded in facts from your specific knowledge base. Imagine a tool that analyzes legal contracts and has to provide the exact citation for every single claim it makes. Llama Index is built for exactly that. Now, the huge trade-off here is that your agent's quality is 100% tied to how good your data retrieval system is. If the retrieval is bad, the agent is bad. You accept that dependency when the job absolutely, positively cannot tolerate hallucinations and needs to be backed by verifiable facts. Think legal tech or financial analysis. And our last one for today is Microsoft's AutoGen. Now, like CrewAI, it's all about multi-agent systems, but its special sauce is how it structures conversations between those agents. And, really importantly, how it brings humans into the loop for oversight and approval. This makes it fantastic for really complex, open-ended problems. A great example is a coding assistant, where a developer has to give the final thumbs up on the generated code.
So what's the trade-off? You have to manage all that flexibility to keep costs down and avoid infinite loops. But you take that on when the path to the solution isn't clear from the start, and you need that perfect mix of AI autonomy and human judgment to actually get the job done.
Okay, let's zoom out and look at the whole picture. Here's a little cheat sheet to give you that side-by-side comparison. Just take a second and look at the different ways they coordinate, right? From LangGraph's flowchart style to CrewAI's team roles. Pay attention to those production notes. This is a great way to start mapping your own project's needs to the right tool. So, you've studied the map, you've picked your framework, you're ready to go, right? Well, not so fast. Choosing the tool is just step one. The real challenge starts the moment you start building and you realize you're basically navigating in the dark. You need a compass. You need a telescope. You need something to guide you when things get real. And this right here is the million-dollar question every single developer has to answer. How do you know if it's actually working in the wild? Because an agent that seems perfect on your laptop can fail silently in 1,000 different ways once real users start interacting with it. So how do you find those failures before your customers do? The answer is having a systematic blueprint for reliability. And the best part? This works with any framework you choose. It starts with treating your prompts like code. You version them. Then you build a solid test suite using real-world scenarios. After that, you simulate complex conversations to poke at all the weird edge cases. Then, when you go live, you instrument everything with detailed tracing, you monitor quality constantly, and, this is key, you close the loop by feeding what you learn in production right back into your tests. This whole process, this is what we call the observability and evaluation layer. Let me give you an analogy. The agent framework you choose, that's your car's engine. It's powerful, it's essential. But this layer, this is your entire dashboard. It's your speedometer, your GPS, all your warning lights. See, it's not part of any single framework, because their job is to orchestrate the work, not to guarantee the quality. This layer sits on top of everything, giving you the visibility and control you need to drive safely. And this is exactly where specialized platforms become so important. A platform like Maxim AI, for instance, gives you this mission control system right out of the box. It lets you test your prompts against thousands of scenarios before you deploy. You can simulate those messy, multi-turn conversations to catch bugs early. And then, once you're live, it gives you that super deep tracing and monitoring to understand precisely why an agent got something right or wrong. It lets you focus on building an awesome agent, instead of getting bogged down building the complex infrastructure just to make it reliable. Okay, so keeping that critical layer in mind, let's get super practical. How do you take all of this information and actually choose the right framework for your project? It really boils down to 3 simple steps. 1. Start with the task, not the tech. What problem are you actually trying to solve? 2. Decide early on if you need a single agent or a whole team of them. It's a huge architectural decision. And 3, and this is the most important one, plan for that evaluation and observability layer from day 1. Please do not treat it as an afterthought you'll get to later. All right, as we start to wrap things up, let's boil this all down to a few key rules of the road. These are the best practices that are going to keep your project out of the ditch. So here are the big landmines you absolutely have to avoid. First, agents that can call tools over and over and over, just running up a massive bill. Second, those sneaky, silent regressions that pop up after you make a tiny change to a prompt. Third, hallucinations that are so subtle, they slip right past a quick check. And finally, a lack of what we call node-level observability. That just means you can't see what's happening at each individual step of your agent's process. And without that, you're flying completely blind, trying to debug a total black box. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Your framework, that's your foundation. But that evaluation layer, that's your insurance policy. When you combine the right framework with a serious, rigorous production process, you're not just building a cool demo. You're building a reliable, scalable system that actually works. So the question is your agent built to last, or is it built to fail? The choice is yours.